And now let's go back here. So that part is done. Now, since we really want to understand this, how Claude Code works, first you have to understand the agentic loop. See, the thing is, Claude Code will be using different agents to work with it. So when you say you want to edit some file or you want to add some new features, it is going to use certain agents to do that, right? And then it's not like you will ask for something and it will do the task and it's done. Verification is very important. When you ask for something, even you have to verify and your Claude Code should verify. And that's why we have to understand the agentic loop. See, when you hire a developer, it can be a junior developer or a senior developer. And when you give a project and say, okay, fix this problem. So there's something wrong with the login page or there's something wrong with the dashboard. What they will do is, as a developer, what I will do is I will first try to understand what is happening, right? So maybe I will just do the planning first. And then once I understand what is happening, then I will start making the changes. And once I do the changes, I will verify it. And if everything is well or good, I'm happy. But if something goes wrong again I have to go for the planning phase or maybe the thinking phase, what's going wrong. And then I will act and then will verify. That's the loop I'm talking about. And to explain that, let me go to the drawing page. So basically what we have here is something called agentic loop. Now, whatever marks you can see on the top or here, just ignore them at this point. Just focus on this part. So what you're focusing now is something called agentic loop. So as a developer or as a Claude Code now, because Claude Code is also your coding assistant, or you can say junior developer, or some people call it a senior developer. Again, that's debatable, but let's get back here. Now, the first thing you will do is think. In think, Claude basically reasons about the task. So what is going wrong with the task? Once it knows what to analyze everything, different code files, it will go in the act phase. Now, in the act phase, it will use different tools to read the file, edit the file, execute certain things, right? So it will do all those things and it will try to make it work. And once you have done with the act part, the next is to observe. This is where Claude Code will make the changes, see if things are working or not. So Claude will read the tool's result, and if everything is going good, that's task done. Simple step. But that's not a loop, right? That's one way. But we know, as a developer, we have done that multiple times. It never happens in one go. You think, then you make some changes, you observe, and then you realize, hey, something on the other hand is not working now. And then you'll go back in the thinking phase, you will act, and then you will observe. And the beauty is you don't have to mention this to Claude Code, that you have to go into this loop and then keep doing it. It will do it by itself. When you ask it to act on something, it will check if things are working or not. So if the task is not done, go back, think about it again, act on it, and observe. Now, the most important part here is, of course, all the steps are important. Thinking is very important, because if you don't think and act, you will make mess. And that's what we do most of the time. So when you go to, I remember when I was in my college, when I used to go for the competitions, coding competitions, I've seen a lot of people, once they get a problem statement, they start coding it. They open their editor and they say, let me just start doing it. At least in the C++ language or C language, the first two lines of the imports or the hash include, you do that. And then you think about the problem statement. On the other hand, if you really want to win a competition or if you want to build a product, the first thing you do is you understand the statement, you take a paper, you draw your thinking, you think loud on paper. And then you have a picture in your mind, this is what I want to do, and then you act. That's what Claude Code is going to do. And then once you have done the task, you will be observing, right? That's important. But what is scary here is the act part. So let's say you have built a project which is 50% working and you have done a lot of hard work, and now you're asking, hey, Claude Code, help me with the project. Claude Code will be having the superpower, right? They can read the file. I don't have an issue with reading the file. Maybe the privacy issue would be there, where it will read your files and it will try to send this data to their servers, but Claude Code says they don't do that. I trust them, maybe. So I don't have issue with the read. What I have issue is this two, the edit and bash. Edit is they edit your files, not just editing one line or two lines. They can edit the entire file, entire project, delete the file. Okay, that's risky, right? When they do this. And also the bash commands. These are not simply running a project or something. This bash command can be anything. So this is scary. And the question is how much permission you want to give to the Claude Code to do that. So that's what we're going to talk about. So, this line going here, this is where, so every action which you took, every act passes through these permissions. And we'll talk about the permission. I'm going to hide it for some time, but I will show you that in some time. So go back to the project now. Now, once we understand, Cloud Coin can do that and it uses this agentic loop. So let's see how that agentic loop looks like. Now in this project, this is a front end part, right? But still I want to add certain files. I will say create 3 files or 3 JS files, one for calculator. Again, I'm not going to use these files. That's why I'm using this random features. So one for calculator, one for checking prime number, and one with random JavaScript code. Now this is a simple prompt. Again, meaningless prompt, no one will do that. But let's say if I do this prompt now, and when I say enter, and I'm not sure which model I have selected. By default, it was Sonnet. So let's see. So when I do this, it will start acting, okay? Just giving you a tip, when you're working with HTML, CSS, install this plugin and something. But you can see we got a file here, which is calculator.js. Other files are still in waiting. And it says it has open VS Code, calculator.js, save the file to continue. I could have manually done that, but it says, do you want to create this calculator file? Yes. Now there are 2 options. In fact, there are 3 options. Yes, I can accept. So basically every time you do these changes, it will give you this prompt where it will ask you for the permission. Okay. And since it is doing the changes, it's good that Cloud Code is asking for the permission. So by default, it is in the auto mode. What are the other modes? We'll talk about it. So we got in the auto mode where it is asking you for every changes. So, but I will say allow all the edits during this session on this file. Okay. And I will say yes. Now that's done. So you can see we got one file, which is calculator.js. Again, we are not going to run this and test. There's just a simple calculator with a lot of code here. And now it will go for the next one, which is the prime.js file. So it's taking some time. And again, we have not talked about the slash commands yet, but we'll talk about it later. So here it is trying to execute this bash command. Okay, so for creating a file for bash command is asking for the permission. Again, a good thing. So this is the command. Okay. Yes, I want to continue similar commands. Yeah. So next time for the similar commands, I don't want it to ask again. So I have given you that permission now. I will say yes, enter. And observe this one thing here, which is by the time it is doing that, you can see except edits on. Okay. So this is not a mode which is by default enable. I can switch to it. But why do we have those things? We'll talk about it in some time. So you can see we got 3 files. We got calculator.js, we got JavaScript concepts.js. This is for the random file which I was talking about. And then this is the prime.js. Again, I'm not sure if the code is right or wrong. We can just write the test cases, test it. And even you can use Cloud Code to write the test cases and do that stuff. But that's not the main intention. I just wanted to create these files and lose some tokens, random files. Okay, so some random JavaScript code. Now I got these 3 files, right? Now the agentic loop, basically if you read all these things which is happening here, you will understand first it thinks what you want to achieve. So there's a thinking mode going on. Then once it thought about what we need to do, it will act. And then once it is acting, it will just go into that observe phase. And then if things are not working, it will go back and think, act, and observe.